Welcome. I'd like to call the February 2nd Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Batchelor, please stand.
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is 9:04, so approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
Will we approve the minutes?
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. We'll move to public comment, and right now I do not see any on Facebook. Is there anybody in the room here that would like to speak? I see nothing. We will move to Clerk Treasurer Parthune. Claims approval.
Okay, we've got payroll for January 22nd, 2021 in the amount of $403,979.95.
Do I have a motion?
Will we approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
We have sewage claims in the amount of $58,482.75.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I have a question.
Sure.
I have one question. I see that reprographic arts expenses in there. I'm assuming that's for the LaPorte Living, sweatshirts, hats, etc. Where do we put the income for all of those things?
We're not selling those, Jess. That is just the agreement, the $350 retail product license agreement. So we don't get the income from selling any of that.
Okay, so we just sell at cost, if anything, within city employees.
We don't sell anything at cost. It's just a licensing agreement. Nick, maybe you can better explain that.
Well, the 350 is what reprographic paid the city, and then
To use our branding.
correct. So that would be revenue. And Jessica, is that your question? Is where that goes then?
Yeah.
That just goes in the general fund, Jess. But we don't. I just want to be clear. We don't buy clothing or any of that stuff. It's just the $350 retail licensing agreement fee that we get from Repro. And I think Cablin's was just approved as well.
Right. Yeah, Jess,
Hot Cafe as well.
we're working on finalizing. Courtney, did the city not buy some merchandise though for employees? Is that correct?
I think that was just I think that was Repro. That Jess Bruder would know
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, we bought some jackets from Reprographic Arts, some
And
fluorescent
they were
jackets.
embroidered, Jerry, right?
Yeah, with the symbol on it.
Yes, further questions?
Okay. No, thanks.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, we've got water claims in the amount of $21,987.22.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
I think that was an aye from Jess, who might be frozen. Motion carries 3-0.
And then finally, we've got civil city claims in the amount of $704,723.78.
Move we approve the civil city claims.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I did have one question on this one. So we bought a bunch of salt, and with the snowstorm that we just had, it was about 38,000, 40 grand that we spent in salt. How long will that last us typically?
Mike Fraze.
It varies on the amount of the snow and storm. But we probably only used by about 300 tons this weekend.
So of that purchase, how much do we have left, would you say? Half?
Probably about a little under half.
But we're not in short supply of salt. Out there last week, we have quite a bit of salt.
Right.
Great.
Mike, do we have an agreement with the state that we have to buy a minimum amount?
We got to buy 80% of our contract.
And we are going to have to look at a salt dome at some point as the building is collapsing around it.
Yes.
Further questions? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Clerk Treasurer Parthun. So hopefully, by the way, if we continue in the orange, the hope will be that we can have more public meetings in the very near future, maybe even as such the next meeting where some public will be able to attend, will be in public, and then for those that are uncomfortable, we'll have the Zoom option. So that will help with all our technology, hopefully moving forward. Department heads, brief update of what's happening. Beth West, Transport.
Morning. Still working on year-end reports for the departments that I have to report to. We're also cross-training some drivers to help cover dispatch. Other than that, we're still holding our own.
Jeff Batchelor, Code Enforcement.
Still continue getting out in the field, going through, looking for violations. We're also looking at vacant properties and addressing those issues too.
Mike Frey, Street Department.
We're still cleaning up from the storm. We're picking up snow downtown, and we're out patching.
And you decided to clean up, which I think is good practice, in the middle of the middle of the night, so that we're not disrupting business, and those that want to shop downtown and open up their door do not have to fight the snow.
Right.
Jeff, as well, if you'd update 701 Maple, Jeff Batchelor, to go back to code, just that the bank is still in ownership of the building, correct? You're muted.
The receiver has taken over. They're actually going through getting quotes for everything right now. Then they'll go back and tell the bank what's going on. They'll make a presentation of all the prices that they got for the different things, and then they'll decide on what they're going to do with it.
And if the Herald Dispatch would like a personal tour, you'd be willing to do so.
Sure, most definitely.
There you go, Amanda. Tim Werner, Water.
Good morning, thank you. We're still going through our SCADA upgrades. As you can tell by the last couple of meetings, it's quite the process. We were hoping to have our new radios online last week. We ran into some frequency issues, so we're waiting for those to be resolved. The other thing that the water department's going through is I have 2 more operators, both been here 25, 30 years, turned in some retirement papers for the end of May. So we will be hiring 2 operators, hopefully by March, to get those guys trained so we can continue to move forward as a department. That's all I have this morning. Thank you.
Mark Schreiber, Park Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to thank everybody who came out for Winterfest last weekend. 5 successful events. Very great attendance for the scavenger hunt out at Fox Park, and everything went great. Weather wasn't too great on Sunday, but still a good event this year. Youth sports registration still going on. Encourage everybody to remember we have online registration in person at the office or by phone. And the ice rink has been open now, I think, about 11 straight days. So it's been a pretty good run. The weather's been cooperative. And we just would like to remind everybody to be courteous of other skaters out there and follow COVID protocols such as social distancing.
And we also want to remind people, park trash cans, trash receptacles are not individuals' home trash.
Correct.
So please find alternative places at home to throw your trash away, but not at the park department.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Mayor. Yeah, we've seen a little spike in the people putting their home trash into receptacles and dumpsters in the parks. That is dumping, considered dumping by law, and it's punishable by a $1,000 fine. So if caught, we will prosecute. It wastes a lot of time and resources that the taxpayers would rather see us doing other things, I'm pretty sure.
And I do appreciate you bringing up on the ice rink to be gentlemanly, because if Mr. Otis was out there, I'm sure someone would get knocked out of the ice rink. So if he was skating, so I appreciate you putting that out there for his benefit.
Mayor, there are certain things at sports I'll play, and there's certain ones I'm not good at, and you wouldn't find me on an ice rink. People would appreciate it because they get to do some ACL surgeries, I think.
Breton Police Department.
We offered a conditional offer of employment. Our merit commission did, to Jordan Petty. He's from Dyer, Indiana. Wants to move this way. He's an outstanding candidate. He's doing all his testing this week. So hopefully, probably not the next Board of Works, but probably the first one in March, we'll be swearing him in. Along with that, I believe South Bend Police Department is going to hold an academy, so we're going to be much closer to home. We've reserved 2 spots, still hiring for 1. And the other thing is the street crimes unit is up and running. They worked last night. It was their second night. These things start off slow, but they're working, answering drug complaints that we get tips on, watching houses, hitting other hot spots. There are 2 active officers. Looking forward to great things that come from them.
And when is the last time you've had a street crimes unit?
I worked it back in probably 4 years ago.
So this is very important to our community, and I'm excited. You've got 2 strong officers, so we'll see what happens with that moving forward.
Yes, very proactive officers, and one's canine handler, so that's huge.
Jen Knoll, HR.
We've got a job opening for the street department, a driver operator that's listed on the city's website, and a CDLB is required for that.
Nick Otis, legal. Anything?
I apologize. I've got the first item on new business, so that I'll wait for that.
Tom Casey, plan.
Sir? No update this week, Mayor.
But I think we did have, if you just want to mention briefly the Heart of LaPorte plan.
Yes, the Heart of LaPorte plan was presented both to the Healthcare Foundation as well as the downtown businesses last week. Went well. Very exciting project. Will have a huge impact on the future of LaPorte, and look forward to sharing that in the future with Board of Works as well as the City Council.
Bert Cook, LEAP.
Good morning, Mayor. Morning, Board of Public Works. Just one update. We have coming up Friday, February 19th, a legislative update. The mayor and Tim Frankie with our city council, President Pro Temp, are going to be part of, along with State Representative Pressel. And I believe Mike Bohacek will also be there, but an update to the community on legislative issues that are currently ongoing. If anyone is interested in attending, can email our office. We'll get you signed up. It is a virtual meeting and it is free. Thanks.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you're putting all 4 of us with one individual specifically. It's going to be more than just an update. I can guarantee you that.
True, Mayor.
We expect some of those people downstate to listen to us locally. So, and clearly that's an issue or a problem for one. So I think we'll have more than an update. Andy Snyder, Fire Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy to report we do have all personnel back on duty, meaning nobody out with COVID right now. That's the first time for a while, so we're happy with that. And the 3 newest hires that we have an official start date of March 15th for their academy with the district. That's what I have.
And then you're still looking to provide possible services within the city limits regarding ambulance, improving service, and having that opportunity.
Definitely, yeah. We're looking at that real hard and starting to move forward very aggressively right now.
That's a long-term process, but great that you're looking for that option.
Yes.
Jerry Jackson, wastewater. Cash advertisement for cash rent for bids for Head Creek went out, and the bid announced. I emailed the announcements out to some of the local farmers who have got their email addresses. So we'll have bids at the next meeting. Lakeside Sewer, that project's progressing. They've directional drilled in some of the low pressure mains, getting close to starting putting in the grinder pump installations. A few issues we've had with and I'll be back with a proposed change order for some of the pump stations we didn't think were in the floodplain, but turns out they are. So there's a little upcharge on that. But otherwise, project's going well. And next week I'll have recommendations for the letters and numbers engineering, so we can get that engineering work started.
Because our goal is to eliminate or reduce dramatically the flooding that goes on in letter and number streets.
Yep, separate sewers. The drainage will be much better. We can get rid of basement backups.
That's great.
Hey, Mayor, if you don't mind, I work with Jerry on the Head Creek cash rent that got put out. Jerry, if you don't mind, I thought it was kind of interesting explaining that land and why it's particularly desirable to farmers.
It was part of the old, before Travis Ditch became Travis Ditch, it was called Head Creek, and it was a meandering creek that went south. Now it goes in a straight and is an arrow south. This used to meander with oxbows and all those things you see in natural streams. And so some of the Head Creek farm we've got is those meandering low ground with all very, very rich soils. It's kind of a mixture of peat and sand, depending on where you're at. And so, yeah, it makes good farm ground. And of course, for us, the sandy areas in particular are a good place for us to dispose of our solids, because those solids build that sandy soil, and you can see a dramatic difference between crops grown on land that's had our solids on versus the farm right next to it that remains much more sandy. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting little spot.
I think it's kind of an interesting way to see everything come full circle and almost reuse and recycle through our utility system.
Absolutely. All right, Jess Bruder, Communications.
Thank you, Mayor. We are working on the website. It is coming along slowly but surely, so that's good news. Also wanted to share that we just started a new social media campaign on Facebook called Feedback Friday. Every week we'll post a new survey link that covers a different topic. It's only a couple of questions, takes less than 5 minutes, but that input really helps us as we look to offer ways to continue to improve the city of LaPorte. And then we also share the results on Facebook the following Monday for anybody who's interested in seeing those. We've done 2 so far. They've been pretty successful. About 200 people the first time and about 150 people the second time. So just really excited to see where that process takes us and hope more people participate. And that's all from me.
Ms. Bruder, how long is that link open? Is it live all day on Friday?
It's live all day Friday and all throughout the weekend. I turn it off on Monday morning, so.
Okay.
And we've had great response, so great job, Jess. Nick Minnick, Engineering.
Not a whole lot right now. Just working on design projects and things like that. I did want to mention the first round of community crossings for our state paving funds. That grant was due Friday. just so there wasn't any wondering why we didn't apply. Last year we had 2 paving programs, and we're still wrapping up one of those paving programs. All of these dollars require a 50% match by the city, and we're only able to generate somewhere between $700,000 in match each year. So by having 2 paving programs last year and having 1 federal aid paving program, which is an 80-20 match, so we get more for each dollar, coming up this year, we wanted to reserve those match dollars for our 80-20 paving so that we're getting more pavement for the dollars. And then we'll look at the second call. So we do have 2 opportunities each year. But if we would have applied this round, we would have possibly put our 80-20 funding in jeopardy by not having a match, and we wouldn't have had a match if we would have been awarded the projects. So we'll let that kind of rebuild and be able to put in a project with the second call, which would be I believe in July, and then awarded later in the summer. So we will be doing plenty of paving. We're not going to stop paving. We have other programs going, but I did want to make note of that for the board.
Well, Nick, that's a smart move. I can't imagine anybody would choose 50-50 with community crossings and not use the 80-20 federal grant. So that's good, and we'll have a community crossings grant on the second half. So totally agree. All right, that wraps up department heads. Those of you that do not have business before this board, have a great day. And we will now move. Oh, by the way, we did have a couple comments via Facebook. Lisa Pierzakowski said, thank you, street crimes officers. And Chris Clenard said, Winterfest Glow in the Dark scavenger hunt was a lot of fun. Nick Otis, Special Counsel Services, Mark Wordley Law.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mr. Worthley is on as well today. So Mark has been working with the city well before even I came on board in 2017. And he provides regular monthly services to the City of LaPorte Plan Commission and the City of LaPorte Board of Zoning Appeals. We really value the work that he does, and this is just updating the contract. He's taken on a little more role, so the monthly rate, which had not changed since his initial retainment in I believe 2015, has been bumped up from $750 to $1,000 a month is the request that I am making for this. And Mr. Worthley joined us today. Mark is probably not somebody that the Board of Works members see too frequently, but he does do a lot of important zoning work for the city. So I asked him to come on, and he's happy to answer any questions that the Board of Works members may have.
I do have one. May I have a motion first?
Yep. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Mark, we're not being billed for the code enforcement court though, correct? Only if we would use it?
Yeah, correct. There was something that occurred probably, I can't remember if that was in 2015 or 2016 with Mrs. McQuaig and maternity leave. And she asked me to leave it in the contract going forward, but I've never billed it since probably 2016 after her maternity leave was finished.
And I think, Mayor, too, I think Anthony Novak handles most of that. This, again, is more the zoning. And maybe, Mark, if you could just briefly explain some of the things that come before the Planning Commission in zoning from residential to commercial.
Right. We get a lot of varied requests. A decent chunk of what the Board of Zoning Appeals sees is from regular residents of the community who want to make an addition or make some aesthetic change to their residence. And those requests are usually quite a bit of back and forth that goes on the city level before it gets to the board, and then the board reviews their proposal. On a larger scale, I think that we see a lot of development through the grant program, through the work of Bert Cook and Tom Casey, and bigger picture ideas that obviously there's a lot of negotiation to ensure that they comply with the zoning ordinance, but at the most basic level, the board is enforcing your zoning ordinance, making sure that whatever development comes into the city is a right fit for the city. And obviously the boards are very business friendly, but they always have the city's best interest in mind when making their decisions.
A subject that I think the mayor and Tom Casey have been working on. When you talk, the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Plan Commission, they don't create these rules. They just enforce the rules that are created by the city when it comes to signage and other things like that. Is that fair to say?
The Plan Commission has the ability to propose alterations to the zoning ordinance, and the Plan Commission is also in charge of putting together the master plan for the city. All of that gets approved by the city council, however, so the city council has the ultimate say, but the Planning Commission is the primary advisory board to the city to determine to help advise the city council on what changes, what the aesthetic of the city is going to be, and to work with the experts who aid the Planning Commission in creating the master plan.
Great.
Other questions?
Yeah.
Discussion?
Well, so Mr. Otis, so we're talking about, what Mr. Novak does, and what's the reasoning behind having a separate attorney to do this outside council work versus, yourself or Mr. Novak or someone from.
Sure. I think it's a couple things. I think historically, some of it is maybe to prevent conflicts from time to time because of some of our firm's clients, I believe, may come before the commission, because you're talking about a lot of individual residents that come before the Plan Commission. And this is also Mark's area of expertise. He's been doing it for a long time. And Mark Coder, we have a couple other, the city does contracts with other attorneys because it creates, you have some different layers with boards. For example, Attorney Doug Beege advises the Merit Commission because I represent the police chief when issuing discipline, for example, or Mr. Worthley has advised the Fire Merit Commission because I may be representing the fire chief in issuing discipline. So I think it's a way, it's very common for cities to have an attorney that specifically advises planning and zoning because of the real, I guess, niche area. Is that fair to say, Mark, with your, I know you would work with some other communities from time to time.
It is a very specific set of laws and structures that there isn't a lot of overlap with the Indiana Code specifically geared towards municipalities. So it's specific, but also the Board of Zoning Appeals it's important for that body to have independent counsel because the Board of Zoning Appeals is quasi-judicial, meaning that their job is to ensure that the people who come before it get an unbiased, unvarnished hearing that there's no seepage from the city, the influence of the city coming into the decision making of that board, which is why the board is not allowed to be composed by any people who are employed by the city. So, but on top of that, I think I agree with Nick, which is that we've had a lot of instances where we've just needed to bounce ideas, to have another voice in the room. And I'm happy to provide that to the city. But on top of that, I'm going into my 6th year working on this board, and I think that we've done a lot of really good work, and I'm just excited and appreciative of the opportunity to continue to serve the city in this capacity.
Further discussion?
Thanks for going through all that.
Yep.
Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Welcome back, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Yep.
Mike Fraze, permission to purchase oil.
I need to get approval. It's over my limit. A90 oil for our total patch machine, that tank that we got received in last fall. It's for $5,850.
So, Mr. Fraze, you are asking for additional money to use the oil so that we can fill potholes during the winter months.
Right. It'll come out of my MVH restricted.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. And again, Mike, this is what we've focused on so that potholes can basically be filled year round by going to this total patch program with the heated oil, correct?
Correct. And yeah, because you can tar the crack and it'll last longer within cold mix. This is more permanent than cold mix is.
Further questions?
Have we been able to do any patching yet with that new machine?
No, I'm waiting for the oil now. We just got it all done, hooked up.
Got it.
But if we approve this, how quickly will you begin?
Probably as soon as they deliver it.
Which is 2 weeks, a week, 5
About a
weeks?
week.
About a week?
Yeah.
That's great news.
Are you restricted by any weather conditions or temperature?
Only if it's raining or snowing.
It's pretty cool.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, or patches. Motion passes 3-0. A little humor there. All right, Beth West, 2021 certifications and assurances.
I need signatures on these two documents by the mayor and the clerk treasurer and the city attorney. These are paperwork that's annually done for NERC. One of them is just saying that we will be funded, and the other one is showing that we'll be within the NERC guidelines and the federal guidelines to operate transport.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. 2021 certification of financial capacity and local share availability. Beth West?
We covered both of them. No, that's the, this is the documentation that needs to be signed by the mayor and the attorney showing that transport will stay in guidance with federal, local, and state guidelines.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? We better stay in guidance. I'll be in trouble.
Me too.
All in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Jen Knoll.
Good morning. I'd like to flip-flop my first and second agenda items. So starting with the Magellan prescription management release of PHI to self-insured reporting. So self-insured reporting is a business associate of APTA, who is our care management team for insurance programs. So this is just authorization for the plan to share personal health information with self-insured reporting so that we can receive predictive modeling reporting from APTA. So asking for your approval for that authorization.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. And Jen, this is all within privacy of the individuals, of the employees.
Yes, this is not information that I see. This is information that our insurance company would use for predictive modeling.
Is it, so when it's the information is shared, is it shared, oh gosh, what's the word where it's not,
Aggregate reporting.
yeah, okay, so it's not any individual tied to a name, it's more data
Correct.
per individual, but not to, not it's not disclosed who that person is in any way.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Jen, to what benefit is the predictive modeling that they'll do for us? Is that based on like rates, future rates?
Yes. So it helps us when we're doing our strategic meetings. We go through some of those data reports to determine if there are any changes we want to make to the plan in future years based on what that predictive modeling says.
Further questions? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, and then next, we've got the non-disclosure agreement for the self-insured reporting agreement that we just passed. So this is a pretty straightforward non-disclosure agreement between UMR, APTA, and self-insured reporting. So just asking for your approval on that non-disclosure agreement.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Next, I've got a new job description. So this is a new job for the Parks Department, which is the girls fast pitch softball supervisor. This was sent to me by the Recreation Director. So just asking for your approval on this new job description.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion. Mr. Schreiber, if I can, I think he is on. I thought we had a girls softball supervisor and somebody running the program.
We've had a girls slow pitch softball traditionally through the years. Last year we added girls fast pitch softball as the Kingsbury program no longer was offering. But last year we were not able to offer girls fast pitch because the other communities that offer it had to cancel their season due to COVID. They didn't have facilities. So we wanted to offer it last year. We weren't able to, but we do plan to offer it this year, thus the new position.
And the funding for this position will come out of the program itself?
Yeah, all of our recreation programs are self-sufficient.
Great.
Mark, does KVA still have a league? Or I thought that KVA was kind of giving up a league and that LaPorte, so this says in coordination with the KVA leagues, but is there one?
Yes. So Kingsbury stopped playing last year, but we were still going to play games against Fish Lake and Rolling Prairie. So I believe they're reorganizing again this year. I'm not sure what new communities they'll bring in, but because of the number of girls involved, we don't have the volume of registrations to do it completely in-house, so we play those other county communities.
Got it.
I do have a motion and a second, I believe. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Okay, next on the agenda, we've got the East Isles Agreement, which is part of our captive program. So I am going to ask Craig Menny with GIS to explain that agreement in more detail.
Welcome, Mr. Minnie.
Thank you. Good morning. Glad to be here. As Jen mentioned, so the agreements in front of you relate to our stop loss strategy. As you may recall from fourth quarter last year, you approved continuation with Berkeley as our stop loss carrier, and they provide protection to the health plan and the health plan assets. What happens is of the premium that goes to Berkeley on a monthly basis, roughly half of that premium goes into this separate account, and it's pooled with other employers. Many are here in Northwest Indiana, others are around the rest of the United States. And what happens is if the health fund performs better than expected, the unused dollars are returned to the members. So this agreement just governs the return of those dollars. Last year, 2020, the city's health plan received a return of premium of just over $31,000 from this arrangement. So there's no guarantee that money will be returned, but it puts us in line to to receive some of those dollars back if the plan performs well. And there's really no changes from this agreement from the prior 2 years.
Questions for Mr. Minnie?
Pretty much this is so obviously as you kind of stated this, there is the potential advantage if there's a savings in the overall plan, but yet through Berkeley there is that backstop of limiting the overall liability, right, for the city.
Precisely.
Okay.
Yeah. But in simple terms, what this pooling arrangement does allows us as a group to take on larger risks. So we're lowering our net premium. But yeah, and there's guardrails around both individual and aggregate claims. It's how we're able to budget for the self-funded health plan. And again, this particular agreement just gives us right to return a premium, which is obviously a nice feature.
Well, we've appreciated our partnership with GIS, so keep up the good work.
Thank you. Likewise.
I believe I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Motion passes 3-0.
And lastly, I've got a revised APTA health renewal. So APTA, as I stated, is our program manager for our self-insured plan. So this is kind of it tells you what the renewal fee schedule is. And typically everything is all inclusive of that rate that we pay per employee per month. This year, Springbuck is kind of carved out of that plan, and it was a voluntary program that the city could opt into. We've decided to opt into that because we now have data feed coming from Wellport as well. So we can use the UMR claims as well as the Wellport data to help us with that predictive modeling through Springbuck as well. So looking forward to kind of seeing what the claims through Wellport will show us as we continue with our strategic plan in future years. So asking for your permission to move forward with that additional Springbuck fee.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Questions? Hearing none.
No, this is just basically like in addition to obviously the what we just approved. This is just basically kind of codifying the cost structure of it, right?
Well, no, so APTA, it's a different program, so to speak, different reporting. So APTA chose to move with self-insured reporting, which is another business associate that they use. Springbuck is who they used in previous years. So we do have a relationship with Springbuck. Our data is already in there. UMR already has that data feed. But we chose to stay with Springbuck as well because Wellport is now doing a data feed into the Springbuck program, which we didn't have access to before.
Okay.
Further questions? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you.
I'll now move to Mary Ann Richards, and I'm going to suggest that Mr. Kosher, because of the relationship with the school system here and you being a school board member, you're going to abstain from this portion of it. Mary Ann Richards.
Good morning. I have separate modification agreements for the CDBG COVID grants. And all we're doing is extending the term of the grants. And each grant has a different extension amount. The first one is for Catholic Charities. Their grant previously under the original grant agreement ended December 31st. They've requested an extension until September 30th. They have a grant of $50,000 to provide rental assistance and other financial assistance to families, households within the city of LaPorte who are affected by COVID. So I'm asking for authorization or approval of the modification agreement.
Can we do all three at once, or do we have to do them individually? Mr. Otis, could we do all three?
I think you can take them all together.
Okay.
Just make sure it's clear in the motion that you're moving to approve all three of them together.
Well, if you want to speak to the other two.
Okay, the second modification agreement is between the City of LaPorte and Center Township Trustee, LaPorte, Indiana. And originally the grant ended December 31st. We'd like to extend the term of the grant through June 30th of 2021. The dollar amount hasn't changed. The only thing that is changing is the extension of the grant agreement. And then the third modification is between the City of LaPorte and LaPorte Community School Corporation. And again, the original ending date was December 31st, and I'm recommending that we extend it to February 15th.
So I will need a motion to modify the three grant programs, and we'll be modifying them as one, under one motion. So do I have that motion?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion. So Mary Ann, the reason that all three of these, the money hasn't changed, so they have not been able to complete the funds within the time we gave them?
Correct.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm abstaining, of course.
Motion passes 2-0 with one abstaining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Unfinished business or other business?
I was just wanted to comment that I was one of the inaugural members of Frosty's Frozen Ride on Sunday, so there were a few intrepid souls that joined me out there.
Oh, I'm embarrassed I wasn't there. I should have been there.
We were going to throw you under the bus anyway, Jerry, if you didn't say it. So I got it. How long was the ride?
I think it was five and a half miles. Pretty short. It was kind of nasty out, but it was still fun.
Good. Other business? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I look forward to hopefully having the opportunity to meet in person at the next meeting. So enjoy your day. Thank you for your service. This meeting is adjourned.